8 people have been killed and dozens injured in the latest round of missile strikes launched by Iran. Israel's National Emergency Service says multiple locations were hit on Monday morning. Explosions was
watching a chat slap each other is funny. I do want to say that, like, I view this as, like, kind of a good thing that we have a lot of people in here that are very pro-Israel and other people that are very anti-Israel. I think it goes to show that, you know, like, we have a open, an open chat, and, you know, people are able to disagree with each other and have the opinions that they choose to have. And so, yeah, that's what's going to continue happening. There's a lot of very mixed opinions about this. And nobody's, like, I mean, you'll get banned if you're like, oh, let's kill everybody in this country. Like, I mean, I have to ban you for that. But, like, other than that, you can say whatever you want. You can have whatever opinion you want. Yeah, it's not an echo chamber. Yeah, there's a lot of people that disagree.
Seen in the coastal city of Haifa, where missiles hit near an oil refinery. Central Israel's power grid was also damaged in the latest of the back and forth strikes over the weekend. Israeli officials say at least 23 people have now been killed since Iran's retaliation began.
Jesus.
Meanwhile, in Iran, at least 224 people have been killed in Israeli airstrikes since Friday. That's according to the country's Ministry of Health. The IDF vows their strikes will only get more intense from here, but Iran's president says the country's response will escalate as well, putting more innocent lives at risk.
Yep.
Israel knows no boundaries. They intrude wherever they want, with permission from America. We are by no means seeking to expand the war, but naturally, as our army, our power...
This is what I've noticed a lot, and I'll say this again. It seems pretty evident that a lot of Iranian hate, or the Iranian government hating America, is because Israel is an extension of America. Like, if Israel wasn't in the picture and Israel, like, for some reason didn't exist, would Iran still have the same hate for America? I don't really think so. I mean, I'm sure they'd still hate us for sure, but it wouldn't even be nearly as precise and demonstrated. Absolutely not. Well, I'm sure they wouldn't like. No. What I'm saying, like, I don't think they would be calling us the Great Satan as much, because we're on the other side of the world. They'd be more worried about their current local problems. It's just, I mean, what are we thinking about?
IRGC and our dear people have shown appropriate responses have been given so far. The more they try to escalate, naturally, the responses will become tougher and more severe.
I'm surprised that I have any pushback for this topic. Wouldn't it be obvious that if the main antagonist in the region that you're dealing with is being propped up by another really big country, that would be one of the causal reasons that you hate that big country? And if that wasn't there, then there would be less reasons. I mean, I feel like it's logic, right? I don't know how, like, I mean, if you break this down and you think about it just logically, of course it makes sense.
More innocent people may lose their lives.
Jeremy Diamond was at the scene of one missile strike in Tel Aviv and filed this report just a short while ago.
I'm at the site of an Iranian ballistic missile attack in central Tel Aviv. This ballistic missile struck this area in the early hours of this morning, severely damaging 3 residential buildings right behind me. As you can see, in this whole street is littered with debris as rescue crews move in and out, still trying to assess the damage, to find anybody who might be trapped under the rubble, and also to get people out of their apartments.
Remind me about watching the Jets video after this, okay? After this video, I'll watch the Jets thing.
Also, folks who have arrived here to try and get back inside to get some of their belongings and to make sure that their loved ones are okay. This is one of 4 ballistic missile attack sites in central Tel Aviv alone. In addition, there was a ballistic missile attack in northern Israel, in Haifa as well. More than 70 people were injured in these attacks, according
I think I saw this one earlier.
Magen David Adom, Israel's national rescue services. And of course, we are seeing that these attacks are continuing to escalate, and concern is rising here in Israel about the number of casualties and how many more may come. Jeremy Diamond, CNN, Tel Aviv.
Yeah, you don't have any military intelligence information, not locally or globally. You don't know how these connections work together. Based off of your grammar, neither do you. So you have plenty of people that want to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. But, like, I mean, again, so there's 2 universes, right? You are either understanding and knowing classified information and bringing it up in a Twitch chat for an argument, or you're a shit-talking retard that knows just as much as everybody else does, and you just have a different opinion on it. I wonder which one it is.
Let's dig deeper. CNN's Paula Hancock is now joining me from Abu Dhabi. Paula, thanks for being with me again. We appreciate it. Things are moving so quickly.
You're right. If we were streaming War Thunder, the first option would be more likely.
Across the region. Tell me, what is the latest that you're seeing now?
Well, Ben, we are seeing the casualty figures going up in Israel, for example, now at 23. The early hour barrage of hundreds of missiles from Iran did hit a number of different areas. Tel Aviv, as Jeremy was showing you there, and also central Israel and some of the coastal areas as well. Now, we know that in Haifa, for example, alongside the coast, that city, there are still fires burning in some areas. There were some missiles that hit, or at least one hit close to an oil refinery in
Well, I
Haifa.
thought it actually hit the refinery. I mean, when I saw the video, it looked like there were a lot of, there was a lot of cascading fires and explosions after the missile hit. I think they hit the refinery, didn't they? It sure seems like they did.
Itself. Now, a number of residential buildings across the country have been impacted. We understand from authorities that most of the missiles are being intercepted, but we are seeing that a number are getting through, certainly Tehran by far.
I mean, if I look at this, I've been paying attention to this and watching this every single day for hours every day. Iran is getting more and more missile strikes through every single day. This is undeniable. Why is that? It's hard to know, but the outcome is very evident.
Hundreds of missiles at the same time is hoping to overwhelm and overpower the missile defense systems of Israel. Now, when it comes to what is happening in Iran, we are seeing panicked residents in Tehran try to get out of the city. That we have seen gridlock on the roads heading north, a more rural and isolated area many people are trying to get to. Gas stations are overcrowded as well, as many are trying to escape the areas they believe may be more dangerous. Now, we've heard from the Israeli military,
not a surprise there,
that Iranian residents should move away and evacuate if they live anywhere near a weapons production facility, because they say that that is a target. This was announced on Sunday. And then just a matter of hours later, an announcement came from the Iranian authorities telling Israeli residents to move and evacuate if they are anywhere near the Israeli military. So both sides still claiming that they are targeting the military infrastructure of the other country. But clearly we are seeing residents and civilians are being impacted.
It's very hard to say, who's targeting more civilians, because Iran has killed less civilians, but it seems like they're bombing more indiscriminately, but the missiles get intercepted. And there have been more Iranian citizens that have died, but that's because Israel doesn't have as many of its bombs getting intercepted. So it's very hard to say. You kidding me? Does it matter, really? Well, it's worth discussing and bringing up, yeah.
Showing no sign of backing down. What's their end game? Some say regime change. For others, they say it's about eliminating Iran's nuclear capabilities completely.
We've set them back dramatically, but not enough. And that's why this series of strikes is not going to end today or tomorrow, but only at a period of time, which may take weeks, when we are absolutely certain that the nuclear infrastructure, with the intention of weaponizing and threatening Israel, is terminated.
What's clear?
I don't see that being the end of it. I don't, because even their prime minister, Netanyahu, said yesterday that the missiles and the nuclear stuff was only half of the problem. It was also because they had ICBMs. Yeah, so, I mean, I feel like that's not even true. Do you remember when he said that yesterday?
Here is that this is a conflict that has the potential to lead to a broader regional war with the risk of pulling in major powers, including the U.S. The Trump administration is already walking a major diplomatic tightrope. Joining me now is CNN Global Affairs analyst Kim Dozier. Kim, as always, welcome back. I want to start with the sort of physical battle. At first, it was the military leaders, nuclear facilities. How has this changed over the last even 48 hours?
They also took out some of the Iranian scientists in civilian areas, which meant civilian casualties.
Yeah.
We're seeing them expand a bit to energy facilities.
The Israelis?
The Israelis.
Yeah.
On the Iranian side, last time they volleyed missiles at Israel in April 2024, they stuck to military sites. This time they're using a lot less care, and according to the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, they are using dumb missiles, ones that can't be guided. But Iran only had 2,000 some odd ballistic missiles to begin with.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's because I grew up playing Metal Gear Solid and I watched like 9/11 happen and everything. But like every time that I hear something like that and someone says, oh, well, they're using these dumb missiles that are ending up hitting these residential spots, I don't know. I mean, like the dumb missiles, what they mean is they're not guided with like what I'm assuming is that they're not like guided by like a satellite or remotely or anything like that. Because they're choosing which missiles to shoot down, right? Is there a possibility that they are letting some missiles get through, letting them hit residential areas, so it looks like they're being attacked and Iran is bombing them indiscriminately? Is that possible? I don't know.
We don't quite know how many drones, and they have to preserve them because much of their leadership has been taken out, much of their air defenses have been taken out, and now every time they move a launch platform to try to hide from the Israelis,
I don't think that's the most likely outcome, but I don't, in general, like, this is how I see it. It's very obvious that Israel wants to look like, they're being attacked and their civilians are being killed, because that's what's going to get more people in the West to support them. And whenever somebody has an interest that aligns with an outcome, when that outcome happens, I am suspicious of how it happened. And that is and by the way, think about how I'm speaking in generalities here. I'm not even talking about this specific thing. I'm saying in general, when coincidence and personal gain converge, in a lot of cases, and at least you should approach it from this perspective, sometimes it's not a coincidence. That's all I'm saying. I don't even know if it's true. But I feel like I bring this stuff up because a lot of the other people that say this kind of stuff that I'm saying are crazy. And it's like they're like so ideologically captured by like one side, it's not really worth taking them seriously. Absolute base take, rarity on the internet. Yeah, Israel won't do it. Well, that's a lot of top tier. That's a top-tier country that praises life, not death. Sure, and that country fights for each hostage. They wouldn't let their people die. Netanyahu is measured by its people. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think that it's important to keep your guard up and to remain analytical and not to let scenes like this shift your logical thinking. I think that anytime somebody, this is, again, just the way that I feel, but anytime that a person tries to subvert my logical thinking and then reframe it into emotional thinking, the majority of times, and I'm talking like 95% of the majority of times, probably higher, the reason why is to get me to agree to something that is not logically in my best interest. That's it. You're talking about fear-mongering? Yeah, I am. And so, of course, I think like this. So anytime that I see something like this, my guard immediately goes up.
Are watching and taking those out.
Now, this means a lot of people are saying that this is the right time to go for regime change. The reporting over the weekend, we have it at CNN as well, that the White House decided not to go for to kill Iran's supreme leader, be part of that. What would regime change mean in this moment? Is Iran just that vulnerable? What is the question the White House is facing?
Well, the Israelis would like regime change. Netanyahu has said as much, but from the Trump administration perspective, the only reason to say no to the Israelis to taking out the supreme leader is to preserve the opportunity to go back to those talks, to use this good cop, bad cop that Israel...
Well, because if you kill him, then that card is off the table. And you can't negotiate with it anymore. Like, I've always had this mindset, like, you know, when I was a kid, like, I played Magic the Gathering a lot. And I always remember, like, I played drafts, and I did very well. I would win drafts regularly on Friday Night Magic. And I realized that there's a lot of psychology that goes into that, especially like playing card games. And having a card in your hand is always better than playing it when you don't have to. And it's like you never use leverage unless you can utilize it in the most efficient way. So, of course, they don't want to kill the main guy, because that's like losing your queen in chess. That's your main thing that you can do.
Israel is taking out all
holding a land like it's a counter. Yeah, you're playing against a blue deck. They have a card in their hand. Is it an island or is it a counter spell? You don't know. A red deck. Is it a fireball or is it a mountain? You don't know.
Iran's military, but also economic might,
that's
what it needs to survive, and then saying, okay, you've got to negotiate with us to keep your people fed, and keeping the supreme leader alive preserves that possibility, but I think it underestimates the pride of the Iranian regime having been taken out like this. I don't think they'll be back to peace talks anytime soon.
Yeah, we've heard so much from about Israel and the idea of the Operation Roaring Lion, but I actually was thinking about something else, which is this idea of like the octopus doctrine, that Iran was at the center of something with many tentacles that was always threatening to Israel. What do you see now with this latest proactive attack on Iran? How far has Israel gone in doing what it hoped to do?
Well, one of the reasons Israel couldn't do this before is there were hundreds of missiles in Lebanon pointed at major Israeli cities. It would have been much worse than the volley that we've seen hit Haifa and some of the suburbs of Tel Aviv so far this time around. But by taking Hezbollah out in Lebanon and by taking other proxies out, Yemen still has...
And you can see how Israel had a long-term plan to make this happen. I think Israel's plan was always to bomb Iran. And I think that them destroying their satellite defense groups like Hezbollah was all part of and in service of that goal.
Has capability, but they're far away. They have really allowed this kind of attack to go forward. And this was one of the reasons pushing them into this attack. Never again would Iran be so undefended. So from the Israeli perspective, they have made their country safer, even if they're going to be facing this volley of missiles in the coming weeks.
And even now, it's not clear where Iran would turn to, correct, for any kind of support.
Arab leaders are speaking in favor of Iran, even Saudi Arabia calling them brothers. Because in the Arab and Islamic street, people are furious over this. And even though the White House is trying to say, we didn't take part in this attack, they're still being seen as part and parcel and backing this violence against Iran, especially because...
Anything bad that Israel does will be blamed on the United States, because I think that it is a generally understood reality that Israel acts usually under the direction or awareness or allowance of the United States.
They're protecting Israel.
You know, Kim, thank you so much. Always a lot of context when I speak with you. I appreciate it.
Give me a second. Yeah, and so Israel's been looking forward to step up to Iran for most of the 2000s. I can guarantee you U.S. or other countries has one somewhere. Part of the military's job is make a bunch of plans for potential situations might happen in the future. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the smart thing that you would do, right? I mean, of course you would do that. I mean, if you didn't do that, you'd be a fucking moron. And so anyway, no, this is what's obviously been happening for a while. And I will look at the jets as well, but it seems like very clearly, and they're even saying it's going to be even worse today.